this is actually really interesting, is Miu Miu. You continuing to have exceptionally terrible quality and just the joke of the brand that Miu Miu is starting to become. So there is an influencer called Tiffany Kim who bought Miu Miu. We've already covered the Wisdom K situation and kind of what happened there. So we'll cover this Miu Miu situation.
A not to buy, ready to wear at Miu Miu. So I was a victim. I bought the viral jacket. I've only had this jacket for maybe a month now. And tell me why the little scrunchy thing fell off. This is what it's supposed to look like. One day I just wanted to wear it. Noticed that it fell off. I didn't know where it went. I was cleaning the floor and I found this. I immediately texted my essay from Hawaii and she said there should be no issue, no cost to repair it. Just take it to your nearest Miu Miu in New York. Walk in, greeted by a really lovely essay. She takes my jacket and she's like, no problem, let me just run your account. Then she comes out saying, if you want your jacket repaired, there's actually a fee because Hawaii is not considered in the country.
Now, first of all, I need the Americans to explain this to me. Isn't Hawaii a state in the US? Like I was saying, so isn't Hawaii a state? So if Hawaii is a state, how can they say that it's not part of the US? That doesn't make any sense to me. How could they possibly make that claim? I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense. So I just don't get that. Someone was asking earlier, what is the price of the fleeces? So I'm in Italy, so obviously these prices are in euros, but I mean, you have this one in 2.5K, this one is 2K. So the Miu Miu fleeces are like really, really terrible quality and they cost outrageous amounts of money, right? Miu Miu is another one of those brands I don't really understand because most luxury brands, right, they have 3 tiers of luxury. So there is the stuff that is, you know, the runaway pieces that aren't produced in, you know, really high quantity. Sometimes you have to be a VIP client to get some of those items and you have to have like an SA that can get that for you. And it's only delivered on order. So it's only the people that order it that will ever get it, or it's like really limited. That stuff is normally made in good quality because normally when the runaway shows are made, they're made within the atelier. So it's made well by the people that actually craft it and they've like looked at it, they've like worked on it for a while. So those things tend to be really good quality. Then you have like the middle tier, which is like where they start sending stuff to factory, like the more complex bags, some more like limited ready to wear pieces. Those pieces can still kind of be good quality. And then the third tier is the mass-produced pieces. So those tend to be like the t-shirts with the Dior print or the Tiago print or the hoodies or these like the fleeces. Because there's no, like with these fleeces, there's no design. Like if you look at the design of these fleeces, there's nothing, the sleeves aren't elongated, the body isn't different, the hood doesn't have some crazy ornament on it. It is quite literally a generic fleece with Miu Miu branding repackaged and sold for extortionate prices. That is literally what it is. So I don't know why people are shocked when these quality things happen. Obviously, I'm still covering it because it's interesting, but I don't know why people are shocked that this happens because I think it should be obvious when you look at the clothing. But anyway, let's continue watching.
I'm sorry. I thought Hawaii was in the US. Last time I checked, and I think I learned this in 5th grade, Hawaii is state number 50. Why is this considered international? It's not even about the fee. I can pay the fee. Actually, no, I don't want to pay the fee because I literally paid like 2K for this jacket and I only wore it like twice. So I'm now patiently waiting for the Hawaii essay to message me, but this is unacceptable. I mean, objectively so cute, very comfortable, but it's kind of giving Columbia, and Columbia probably has better quality than this. Okay, bye. This is your sign, a not to buy, ready to wear at Miu Miu. So I was a victim. I bought the viral.
So yeah, first of all, before we watch the part 2 of the situation, so a few things I don't understand. First of all, this is from the Miu Miu perspective. First of all, you had the Wisdom K saga where he bought something, it broke. You replaced it, it broke. So the narrative online, because Wisdom K is such a famous and big personality online, people follow his opinion, people look to his opinion on fashion, like his audience is so broad. Like someone like me, my audience is only people that are like really into fashion. someone like Wisdom K, and I'm really happy for him because he's really successful. His audience transcends that. His audience is like people into fashion like me that follow him, and then people that are kind of trying to get into fashion, and then people just like seeing him dress up in the way that he does. So there's so many eyeballs on that, and you cannot afford for the narrative coming from Wisdom K to be that the Miu Miu quality is terrible, to the point where he made that, I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but he made that like parody video where he went to the Miu Miu store and he was playing like funny music, like Inspector music, and then like testing the zips and stuff. And so you've already gone through all of that. Now with, at that point in time, after going through that, you're supposed to just scrap. You know how with like in the tech industry, like if you have Samsungs that have one fault, you have to recall all the phones. I don't know why we don't do that in fashion, where we know this batch of clothing is faulty, just recall it back. You take the loss for producing bad clothing and then produce better clothing. But they don't want to do that. So instead, they're just going to take the hit on the quality. And it seems like they're okay with that. Now, I don't understand that. I think that's very short-sighted because they're thinking, well, if we recall the garments or whatever, we have to redo this whole batch. We're going to lose millions, and then Q4 performance won't be great. Yeah, but it's better for your Q4 performance to not be great. You communicate with the audience what you've done, how you're working on the quality, you're taking steps to improve it so that long term you protect the brand. That should be the number one priority, protecting the brand. But it seems like these brands are so lost, they don't do that anymore. So they're just going to keep having people, influencers, and content creators with massive audiences talking about how bad Miu Miu quality is. And eventually everyone will just be like, you're wearing Miu Miu, isn't that like the brand that has the terrible quality? It literally will become that.
Flower delivery to my apartment. I wonder who it's from. There is a little note here, so let's see what it says. With our warmest thanks and appreciation, we hope that these flowers bring a touch of joy to your day. Miu Miu. From Miu Miu. Guys, I'm pretty sure they saw my video.
Why do these brands always send you useless flowers? Like this is like when Van Cleef sent that book, or why do they always send these silly ass flowers? We just want good quality clothing. Like you wouldn't need to send all these weird flowers if you just made garments that like actually didn't break after the first wear.
Video and they sent me flowers. They actually also texted me saying that they are going to get me a replacement jacket. So that's very, very good. However, if they learn a thing or two, Hawaii is in the US and it's not international.
Can you guys explain that to me once again? I still don't understand how they can claim that Hawaii is not, when it's a US state, how they can claim that that's the only state that doesn't count in their sort of US repairs program. And it's funny because when they saw the backlash from her original video, they're still sending a new one anyway. So why didn't they just repair it in the first place? Not risk someone posting a video and then building on the narrative that, you know, Miu Miu quality is atrocious. You see, this is what I mean. Like, I just don't understand how, like, the PRs behind these brands think, how the brand managers think. It just does not make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. I know, a replacement is crazy. For a fleece that costs, like, almost 3K. Absolutely outrageous. Well, I'm sure. So what I think it is, my guess is that it's more expensive to repair than it is to replace because these are mass produced, so they're made really cheaply. So you just send another one. It only costs you how much to make. So just send another one, because if you're having to repair it and then it's just too much hassle when they can just send a new one and it doesn't cost them that much. So that's why I think they always replace these items. Like even in Wisdom K's situation, they're like, we can send replacements. They didn't fix it, they sent replacements. I think that's the reason why. They're more cheap than shipping. I wouldn't go that far. I definitely wouldn't go that far. When you buy the fakes because the quality is better. Some of these brands, like if I bought something from Miu Miu, I would like reinforce the buttons myself before wearing it, just to be sure that I'm not outside and then my buttons start popping all over the place and then I lose a button at a party and I can't find it. Usually PR is reactive, so PR only deals with backlash and they don't actually work to put systems in place to stop backlash from happening. Yeah, but that's because they're just bad at their job. Because to me, good PR should be good at controlling the narrative And you can't control the narrative effectively if you're reactive, because the narrative has already happened and now you're responding to it. But why not get ahead of it before it even goes negative? So that's something I don't really understand. But yeah, so that's more continued shenanigans from Miu Miu and their terrible quality. So yeah, that's the case. That's the case with Miu Miu. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind the scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.